Have you ever felt like politics today is less about solving problems and more about picking a team and sticking with it, no matter what? It's like our political beliefs have stopped being about what we think and started being about who we are. This is what I call the identity trap. In a healthy society, a policy is just a tool. Is it a good tool? Does it fix the problem? It's about which team gets to claim victory. This leads to a strange branding reflex. A politician might completely flip their stance on an issue they once supported. The actual content of the bill becomes less important than the signature at the bottom. Huge, pressing problems like healthcare, climate change, or the national debt seem unsolvable. Not because the math is too hard or we lack brilliant ideas, but because the social cost of agreeing with the enemy feels too high. So, if we think of society like a patient, and I'm the sociological doctor, how do we diagnose this? The core issue is what we can call zero-sum governing. Think of it this way: compromise is like the synovial fluid in our joints. It's what allows different parts of our democracy to move together smoothly without grinding to a painful halt. Reflexive, knee-jerk partisanship completely dries up that fluid. In this hyper-partisan, zero-sum world, a half-win isn't seen as progress. Instead, it's reframed as a total surrender. Compromise, which is the absolute bedrock of any functioning democracy, is no longer a pragmatic step forward. The result is that we move from productive friction. Even if the current situation is hurting everyone, the win is in blocking the opposition. What's the real cost of this inaction? When winning the 24-hour news cycle becomes more important than actually fixing the bridge. Are too busy fighting over who gets the credit to actually do the work. Now, let's look at the structural problem that fuels this fire. The primary effect: gerrymandering, the process of drawing electoral districts to favor one party. In a safe district, a politician's biggest fear isn't losing to the opposing party in the general election. Their biggest fear is being challenged in the primary by someone from the extreme fringe of their own party. This is the survival of the loudest. This completely flips the incentive structure on its head. A sellout and becomes vulnerable to a primary challenge. But a politician who obstructs, who shouts, who provokes outrage, they are seen as strong, principled, and their position becomes much safer. Leaving the vast majority of the population, what's been called the exhausted majority, completely voiceless. The system is no longer responsive to the needs of the many, but instead is held hostage by the loudest and most polarized 10% on either fringe. In a reflexively partisan one, it's who gets the credit for this. Next symptom: negotiation. Healthy governance sees it as a necessary path to getting a majority. Partisan governance sees it as a sellout of core values. the opposition. In a healthy system, they are competitors with different ideas. In our current system, they are often portrayed as existential threats to the nation itself. A sick one focuses on activating the angriest parts of its base. This isn't something you can fix with a single pill. It requires a kind of political, physical therapy. Let's encourage the formation of bipartisan gangs or caucuses. These are informal. The blinding glare of party leadership and the media. When you see someone as a person, not just a jersey, it's much harder to demonize them. Let's focus on small-scale pilot programs at the local or state level. And the credit can be shared among neighbors from different parties who work together to make it happen. Breaking this cycle of reflexive partisanship isn't easy. It requires us to change the rules of the game to reward cooperation instead of conflict. But by understanding the diagnosis, we can start the therapy. Thanks so much for watching.